Well, my name is Brinsley McNamara and welcome to the Weird Ireland podcast. In the fizzy drinks business, names like Coca-Cola are so well known that it's actually one of the most recognised words on planet Earth. However, before the Irish market became dominated by the bigger brands, almost every county would have had its own soft drinks bottling company, with some now extinct fizzy drinks including Score, Country Spring and Cavan Cola. Despite this trend, one drink in particular has held out throughout this wave by staying elusive in its home county of Donegal, and that's Football Special, and the other drinks by McDaid's of Ramilton. I know I don't say Ramilton right, do I? Yeah. We'll keep this bit in. So here with me to talk all things Football Special and Irish fizzy drinks is fourth generation owner of McDaid's Football Special, Seamus McDaid. How are you doing today, Seamus?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for having me.
All right, no, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I want to tell you how I came upon Football Special. I was in college in 2015, and a guy I was in college with from Donegal, I don't remember where, I don't even remember his name to be honest, mentioned that there was a soft drink that's only sold in Donegal. He even said only sold in North Donegal. I think that's what he said. I don't know if he was right or not. And he actually he said it was called Football Special and it was banana flavoured. I think he mixed in a few things there because there is a Football Special and there's a banana flavoured one. And I didn't try the drink. I was obsessed with the drink. Obsessed with the idea of a localised drink in Ireland. And anytime I met somebody from Donegal for years after, I would say, "Oh, do you know Football Special?" And that's what I was going to say before this podcast started. I think I met you or one of your family in the George Bernard Shaw in 2020 in Phibsborough.
Oh, that's very possible.
Yeah.
It's very possible. I would say that it is my opening line of all conversations I've ever had outside of Donegal.
Yeah.
Do you know Football Special? So if somebody else has said that back to me, I'll definitely have had a conversation. Yes.
I honestly think I met you or one of your relatives because I asked somebody from Donegal. I said, "Oh, Football Special," and they're like, "Oh yeah, my dad runs that."
It's possible.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. But I didn't try the drink until 2020 because there was a specialty shop in Dublin that sold it back then, and my sister got it for me. Enough of me harping on about Football Special. What exactly is it though for anybody that hasn't tasted it or whatever yet?
Yeah, so nobody's had it yet. So Football Special is 7 flavours mixed together. So it's a some are unique tasting soft drink, although the flavours are very familiar, so it's nothing too out there. But think of it like an Irish version of an Iron Brew or a Dr. Pepper. It's definitely its own flavour. Yeah. And that's kind of one of our uniqueness. As you said, we do other flavours of soft drinks then as well. So we do a banana flavour, a pineapple and a cream soda, and we've always tried to do non-traditional flavors. So we've kind of specialized in really doing flavors that you're not going to see everywhere, like a banana soft drink.
The banana soft drink.
I mean, we have our own special secret banana plantation we grow in Donegal that we just keep that bit of sunshine for the McDaid's.
I've heard this. I have heard this, to be honest. I've heard you say this somewhere else before. But no, the banana flavor one. I first thought that would be revolting when I heard it.
So we class it as a smooth banana. So it doesn't taste. It tastes a lot smoother than people would think. It doesn't. It's not a sharp tasted banana.
No, it isn't, and I love it. And I think it's actually a really, really popular one.
Yeah. Banana's our second biggest flavor after Football Special. So,
and I don't think anyone else makes a banana flavor.
There is. I'd love to say there isn't. There's one other crowd. I was at a soda festival in Illinois, and I was never as upset as when somebody came up with their banana soda. So we're not the only one, but there's not many.
And because you're a fourth generation owner, so you're great
grandfather.
Yeah, I just doing the sums there in my head. Started the bit. So where and when did it start, and how did it start?
So it started really in the sort of 1930s, 40s. My great grandfather was a farmer, and he was the eldest of his family, but kind of untraditional for the time. He left the farm to his youngest sibling, and he left the farm and went into the town of Ramelton and started really wholesaling. So he sold out of the back of a van, which would have been very common at that time, that era in Ireland. And he was trading really with the farming community that he would have known. And from that, around the same time, the next generation then, my grandfather inherited a pub in Ramelton. So they started wholesaling alcohol really then. And from that, they spun off to getting a Guinness bottling contract. So would have been very standard in Ireland at the time. Guinness would come in barrels and it would be finished in pubs. So it would be bottled in lots of different pubs. And you'll still see labels all over the country of different pubs that would have bottled their own Guinness. And to try and kind of bring that to the next era, Guinness set up what we would nowadays call satellite bottlers. So they had bottlers all over the country who did North Donegal or did... So there was us in North Donegal, there was Mulryan's kind of looked after South Donegal, and that was very standard. So we started bottling Guinness, and an offshoot of that was we bottled our own soft drinks. So that was really the genesis of the business. So it's sort of like all businesses over the generations, it took on different things that became then what it is today.
And how did you start? How did the business start producing its own soft drinks? In which case, was Football Special the first one?
Yeah, no, it wasn't the first one. So we would have done lemonades and oranges, and they would have been much more common, even right through the 80s, really. We bought an old creamery in Ramelton, and that we converted into a soft drinks factory. And funnily enough, it was really in the winters. So the Guinness bottling, obviously even back in the 50s and 60s, Donegal was a tourist heavy place. So they were so much busier in the summers, they didn't really have time. So in the winters, they had lots of downtime. So they bought this old creamery and started developing soft drinks. And as I say, it was really oranges and lemonades to start with. Football Special then came along because my grandfather and his brothers all set up Sway Rovers Football Club in Ramelton. So it was a big football club in the 60s, especially in Ireland. And they wanted to create a product that they could bring to matches, really, that was non-alcoholic. So they created a product that they could fill the cup with. And it had a foamy head on it, so it looked like alcohol, but it wasn't alcoholic. So it was suitable for sporting occasions. And they called it Football Cup originally, and then that became Football Special then.
Do you ever hear, do you ever know brown lemonade, the drink that they get in... can you get that in Donegal somewhere?
No, that's a Belfast thing.
It's a Belfast thing, is it?
Yeah.
Because it was County Antrim, I got it. I can't remember the name of the brand. Maine?
Yeah, Maine brown lemonade, yeah.
That drink and Iron Brew at the Scottish Drink Bar, they have all really similar origin stories. I was told by a Scottish guy, Iron Brew comes from pit workers, mining workers, so because they would drink whiskey on the shift, and so it would look like whiskey to replace it, and brown lemonade for ship workers.
Very similar to Football Special. Yeah, they would put that was to instead of beer, it would look like a beer.
It looked like beer. It does. Yeah.
So that's where brown lemonade. And again, that's like you found, that's your regionality of soft drinks. Like that's very much from the shipyards of Belfast,
right?
And then as to Football Special is to Donegal. It's just the homogenization of the market now means that a lot of this stuff is gone now.
I know. Honestly. Because for the book, for the Weird Ireland book, I did a lot looking into fizzy drinks, like defunct fizzy drinks from around the country. And Cavan Cola seems to be the most legendary one. Seemingly, it bet Coca-Cola to the country.
I'd believe that. I mean, I would believe that. I mean, it is interesting that it would have been lemonades and then really oranges in the 60s.
Absolutely.
And then just now, if you look at soft drinks trends, it's just cola dominates. If you looked at the whole overall soft drinks category with cola flavor, and that has really Coca-Cola and Pepsi Cola obviously have just kind of decimated everybody's taste buds that flavor is so dominant now. So Cavan Cola, I'm sure they were, and look, the Coulter family, very similar to us. Like they wholesaled the alcohol around Cavan, very similar thing. And again, it's just that we're still around, and they're not. If there was another generation of Cavan Cola here, they would have a very similar story to me.
Yeah, I would love to have ever tried it. Apparently, they had to guess what cola tasted like, so I never had it. So it tasted like licorice because they thought it was black, so they assumed it was licorice flavored. But so what is, in which case, what is the range of drinks that you do now? So you mentioned the banana one. You mentioned the
so we've core 4 flavors. So Football Special, banana, pineapple, and cream soda. We do a cola and an orange cream as well. In a retro pack that we have. So, and then it's just we do them across the ranges. So we have plastic bottles, glass bottles. We have cans now. So they're the 4 main flavors that we do.
Right. Actually, I was gonna ask that later on because you mentioned them. A lot of people say, the glass one's better than the plastic bottle one. What would you be able to say which one's better? The can, because you said aluminium cans, yeah.
I have aluminium cans, yeah. I think that reality, look, it's easy for me. I'll try to give a diplomatic answer.
Okay.
Here. All packs are developed for different settings. So look, your glass bottle is great, but it's not as good on the go, and that's the problem that's why we created plastic bottles. So. Our glass bottle retro range is our original flavour. There's no artificial sweetener in that, but the downside of that is, for many people, it's packed full of sugar, which we think gives it the best taste, but lots of people are conscious of how many calories they're consuming and how much sugar they're consuming. So lots of our other range then dip down on the slightly lower sugar content. So I would say, yes, if you want the best representation of what Football Special is, we have it in a glass bottle. And my dad would always say, there's a reason champagne comes in a glass bottle. But, at the same time, all the packs have a different place to play. So it just depends where you are trying to consume the product.
That's fair. That's fair. I've actually never seen the aluminium one. I don't think I've seen pictures. I've never seen it.
It's very new and it's very it's hot property at the minute.
Yeah.
So it hasn't got this far down the country yet.
Right.
So.
How did you first get involved with the business?
Well, I mean, some of it was just, by birth of being born, really. So we all, myself and my 4 older sisters, so we all worked in the family business as teenagers and things. I was all, very much interested in the business. At that point in time, we were a large wholesale business with a small soft drinks division. And I never really understood why we wholesaled, because we would sell, more Coca-Cola than we sold Football Special. And I always thought that was a problem. And so that kind of, I wouldn't say put me off the business, but it was always something that I thought that's a challenge for our business. So I didn't get involved in the business right away. I had another dream. I wanted to be a sports agent. That was a big part of my early life. And I went to Australia to pursue that career, and then went to America. And when I was in New York doing that career, the business was really going through sort of some turmoil at that point in time, kind of financial crisis here, and the wholesale market was really consolidating. So we had to get out of that market. And what was left of the business then was just the soft drinks company. And I started selling it around New York because I was loving life in New York. And I thought, well, I'm not going to come home, but maybe I could sell more of it in New York. So we started selling product in New York, Boston, and Philadelphia. And that spun then into I sold all Irish food and drink.
Right.
And, between them and the East Coast of America. So ended up with a wholesale business doing that. But I then made the same mistakes as what I had criticized my father for doing, in that we became a large wholesale company with the small soft drinks offering. And I thought, okay, that I really, to give this business a proper go, I need to now come back to Ireland, take what I've learned in New York, and try have a go at it. So about 5 years ago, then I came back to run the business then full time. So that's, that was, so you could say my apprenticeship was my time in America.
And so you're full-time based in Ramelton?
Yeah, based in Ramelton. Yeah, so I moved back with my now wife Gillian. She's from Queens, and we were just engaged at the time, and we said we didn't no children, so it was let's give it a go now. We moved back to Ireland now. This is a good opportunity. If it doesn't work, we can always go back to America. But we came full confidence that we would, we'd have a business that's survived 4 generations that we could pass on to 4 more generations. So, so it's been terrific. Like, it's been a great move for us personally, and then professionally, it's the business is hard, but it's there's nothing else I'd rather do.
Oh, brilliant! That's great to hear. I mean, you were saying so you were set up in New York doing this. Is Football Special to be available to be bought across New York? Or?
Yeah, select outfits, I'd say. But there's and if you're listening, you want to find, you can find it on our Instagram. You'll see. But we've a couple of places, about 4 or 5 in New York, the same in Boston, and the same in Philadelphia.
Right.
So we've kept that alive, and that's just it's just great because, especially this week, I'll get loads of calls coming up to Christmas, people wondering where it is. It's a great touch of home, I guess, when you're away from home. And that's what we would find from the product that we would have. It's always that you're trying to find pockets of Donegal diaspora, be it in America or be it in Glasgow. And you're trying to just, sell the product to them, and it gives them such a flavor of home.
Yeah. Did you like New York?
I love New York. New York, amazing. Best city in the world.
I've never been, but I'm going to go next year. I'm going to see Oasis there. I'm going to see Oasis in New Jersey. Over. So I must get some tips off you things to see when I'm up there.
New York is incredible. I mean, it was amazing for me. It suited my personality. It was great. Same. My wife is a native New Yorker, so it was just a wonderful time, and it was an amazing city.
Really, I was going to say I put out a poll on Instagram, a Weird Ireland's Instagram yesterday, saying I was going to be talking to Seamus, the owner of McDaid's Football Special. Does anybody have any questions I'd like to ask? The majority of the questions went on by the note of, where can I get it in Cork? Where can I get it in Tyrone? Where can I get it in Belfast? Do you ship to the USA? So just to get it clear, what is the reach of your drinks?
if you're in the northwest, obviously you'll get it everywhere. Outside of that, then there's select outlets. So we have independent suppliers. So around Dublin City, you should be okay, and the same around Belfast, you'll find it. If you're in Glasgow, again, you'll find it fairly readily. But as you go south of Ireland, you'll struggle to find it. So our reach is still very much the northern half of the country at best, but really the north of Ireland. Now, we just done a deal. We were just in our first run with Lidl. We've just got our second order from them, so we'll go back there in March. And I mean, the first order was just fantastic because obviously I, as a salesperson and as the brand owner, I have such great love for the brand, and I go in and try and convince the buyer in Lidl that this is something that they need to put on their shelves. But because you say, look, we're getting all these inbound messages, like, you know, we just need you guys to stock us. But obviously the day it goes live, you hope, well, I hope these people follow through now. You know, you're nervous. And it went fantastic for them. So, you know, we're back again. And then hopefully this leads to them having us more, or other retailers having us more regularly available, because that's the singular challenge for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the nature of the product. It's difficult for us to send a couple of cases, albeit you can buy on our website. But I appreciate that the shipping price is expensive on that, because you're selling a case of heavy liquid. And that means that, you know, we really got to get to kind of distribution levels before it makes sense for us to do it. So you're trying to find, which at this time really means we need one of the shop owners, the brand owners who own the shops, to really take a chance and put us in there. And so you're kind of at the mercy of them, you know. So you're, you know, as much as and that's my job. You know, you got to convince them that this thing will sell, you know, so that's the challenge. But yeah, if you're unsure of stock, we do have a map on our website. So get on there. And then if you're somewhere and you're talking to your local shopkeeper, mention it to them and then send me a line. So
is it still in Lidl at the minute?
No, it's not in Lidl. Now it is in Spar and Eurospar. Oh, really? So you'll get it in a lot of them. But again, sporadic enough. I don't want to. So drop me a message and we'll point you in the right direction.
All right. I thought it was gone nationwide back in September. I made the 23rd, I think it was, or something like that. I went into Lidl to see if it was in there. I made a video about it and everything.
No, it was great then. But it was gone, and it was gone within 7 days.
Oh, so right. I see.
But now it'll be back again, and hopefully more regularly.
And was there ever any pushback off of people who didn't want it to leave Donegal or leave the Northwest, that, you know, it should stay up there, you know?
Yeah. It's funny that there was a guy, I'm going to butcher his name now, but there was a guy on Twitter who did a very funny tweet that said, you know, it should only be called Football Special when it's in Donegal. Anywhere else it should just be fizzy soft drinks. So yeah, no, I think the thing is, people from Donegal are so proud of it that they're just great. They're happy to see it. They, you know, like, you know, the experience you said, people, you know, it's roommates in college who introduce them to it, or it's people coming to the Gaeltacht and locals give it to them, and they're so proud of it that they just love to see it, because it's like their secret getting out. And I think I hope they're happy with it.
Well, how come do you think that Football Special is survived throughout the bigger brands coming to the country, whereas I think virtually every other drinks company's gone? I mean, I remember Country Spring up until I think I was a teenager.
Yeah, Country Spring would have been around till then. I think there's two simple reasons for Football Special. The first off being it's a unique flavour. So you're not quite replicatable by any of the international brands. So that's a big reason that the flavour is unique. The second reason is it's Donegal and Donegal's free spirit, and that's, you know, critical to us. And even in terms of like the bigger, it's more difficult for the bigger brands to come to Donegal. Even the shops, like, we'd have much more independent stores in Donegal than you would have in other counties, because it's more difficult for the brands, for the shopkeepers, the shop brand owners to really take over Donegal. So they're the reasons. And then probably I should say the third reason is then the loyalty of consumers in Donegal. So they've continued to buy us, and retailers in Donegal, they've continued to stock us. So I have no doubt that the store owners in Donegal get pushback. In fact, I know they do, from head office of your branded shops, to tell them to stop stocking that. And they routinely tell them you can't operate a retail business in Donegal without Football Special. And they've said that for 4 generations. Yeah. And that's what survived us. And it's not to say that the retailer in Cavan didn't fight hard enough for Cavan Cola. It's just to say that that's why Donegal is different, you know, and that's why we're so proud to be associated with Donegal, and that's why everything we do is very much based around Donegal, because they've kept us alive, you know, and that's the reason, really.
Well, do you think it could, because like you said, it went nationwide for a little bit thing, you know, with Lidl and Spar right now, but do you think it could become an Irish brand, even internationally, rather than just a Donegal one seen within Ireland?
Oh, certainly, that's the hope. I mean, our tagline is world famous in Donegal, but we would like to change that to say world famous from Donegal. Yeah. You know, and that would be the hope. And I mean, in reality, we've had 4 generations of limited success in Donegal. We won't have 4 more generations of being just a regional brand. We'll need further, growth. We will need to become an Irish brand. And I think there's every opportunity to do it. As you said, it's not the uniqueness is that we're still standing, but because we are still standing, that gives us opportunities now. There's no reason now why we couldn't sell in Cavan and we couldn't sell around the country. And I mean, as a person who works in the beverage business and as a consumer of soft drinks, I think it's sad that there's only international brands.
Yeah.
I would love there to be a bunch of Irish brands. But because there isn't, it gives us an opportunity. So yes, that would be the absolute hope would be that we're having this conversation in 10 years, that it's a national brand now.
I mean, if Bar in Scotland can do it with Iron Brew, I don't see.
Yeah. I mean, the 2 brands that we look up to, I mean, I just absolutely love Iron Brew, right? And they're the hero brand for me. And then Vimto as well, we're very similar. So they're from Manchester, very similar origin story, similar product in that it's unique enough flavour, and they've managed to survive. And both Vimto and Iron Brew, what they've done, they've managed to make a niche for themselves and push through the noise that the big beverage brands are throwing at you. And that's where we would that's the dream.
Do you find marketing Iron Brew a tricky thing? Because a lot of people will talk about Iron Brew as a nostalgic thing. However, that only would be nostalgic if you're from Donegal and you're trying to break out of there. So do you try to market it as an Irishness thing or as a novelty thing?
It's interesting that because sometimes, we'd have people who are nostalgic for the brand and it's their first time having it. I think the people have and that's where obviously being Donegal is a big help, because people have holidayed in Donegal. So they associate that with Donegal. So even to say they never had it when they were in Donegal, it's good times for them. People are... we're in an era where people are looking for authentic stories and things like that, and a nostalgic brand like us is fitting what the consumer is looking for right now. So even if they're not nostalgic necessarily for Football Special, they're nostalgic for a time maybe in Ireland when there was, and that could be somebody who's a teenager. That they're looking for something that's slightly different, that has a story behind it, and that's where we are.
Yeah, that makes. I love that line you said. Like, people are nostalgic for they've tried it for the first time. I totally get that. What was I thinking there? Another question that a follower had was, I just thought I'd throw this in there. Will there ever be a Football Special 0?
Yes, absolutely. And if it's not by this time next year, that person can come and find me.
Really? So you actually got pretty immediate plans.
Yeah, Football Special 0-0. So it's I think this probably is a world exclusive. I'm putting it on record now because I had a team meeting yesterday and it was a big deal at our team meeting. So in 2025 we'll have Football Special 0-0 will be out.
And that name is like that. Like, it's gotten through.
Yeah.
All that's what it'll be called.
Yeah, that's
brilliant.
That's
brilliant. Spelled NILNAL or 00?
We have to still work on that because we want to make people know that it is still a zero sugar as well. But the name will be 0-0.
Oh, that's too funny. That's way too funny. I think that's genius. Like, and what about then? I mean, because these days zero drinks, like zero Coca-Cola, like zero Coke, sugar and zero caffeine is huge. But so is stuff like isotonic / taurine drinks. Is there any idea of doing that?
Listen, there's loads of ideas on the board, Brinsley, I'll tell you that, right? But no, at this moment there's not. But there's, so I'll save that for the next time I'm on, because we have a good catchy name for that as well. But we'll save that until we're ready to announce it. But it's not, that's still a way off. But I think in reality we didn't ever do a diet or a zero before. We never could get the taste to a point where we were really happy with it. But we did this year, so we got to somewhere we're really happy with, and the market has moved that way. People want to drink diet and zero, and listen, even myself, you consume a lot of zero products now, and that's,
you can have more of them because they don't. Well, at least that's what your mind tells you. I can have way more of these because there's no sugar in it.
And again, it's like I said earlier about the packs. It's the same. It's a time and place. That's why we'd have it.
What about into the because you come from in the very origins, Guinness bottling. What about into the drinks area? Is there any cocktails out there that have Football Special in it?
So we do a fair bit with Silky Whiskey, which is a Donegal brand of whiskey. So it's a Silky Special, Silky and Football Special. And we've done Sea Sessions Festival with them. We've done a couple of festivals.
Bundoran as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And that, yes, we do a lot with Silky. It probably matches best with rum. Roman Football Special is probably, it's probably its best partner. But it's good with whiskey, and it's good with any sort of brown spirits. Really, that's
right. Yeah. Is there any word for any of these? Is there a word for a football special in Rome?
Well, there was a bar in Donegal doing a vodka football special with a shot of Jaeger that was called a football hooligan. That was great. But I think that was probably an alcohol pop trend. Maybe.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. That's funny. No, there's so much you could do with that. You know what I mean? There's so much you could do with that. Yeah. Oh, what was it there? Has public perceptions of football special changed over time? Has it gone through ups and downs of popularity, and where is it right now?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly has. I mean, and listen, I'm 35, and even when I was a teenager, I can remember when Red Bull came to Ireland, and teenagers at the time, we all wanted cool international brands, but there is no doubt that in the last 5 to 10 years there has been a return to local, and that's where we're seeing the new success. Let's say our sales in Donegal were always going to be our sales in Donegal, but where we're getting new consumers of the brand is people are looking for something else. So I would think, yes, we're much more popular now than we've ever been, and that's because people are looking for a local. And it's the same as you see the rise of craft beer and things like that. It's not just in our product, but I mean, I think it's a good thing for Ireland that people are looking at more local brands. But yeah, the perception has, I think I'd like to think the core perception of what the product is, and the fun element around it, and Donegal has stayed the same, but we're definitely more in vogue now, I'd say, than ever.
I mean, it's kind of like, I only noticed it this year for the first time. It kind of crept up how Supermacs went from being, they existed, but, they were still very big, to every service station, service station drive-through is a Supermax. A lot of them, at least. Donegal Town, doing Westmeath. And a lot of those are built in like the last 10 years, and people love it. People do like the local stuff like that.
Yeah, people are looking for local. And I mean, again, I think it's a fundamentally good thing for the Irish economy. Like, it keeps, it keeps money circulating inside the economy here. It's just, I mean, I was interviewed by a trade magazine recently, and they asked me that question, like, what do you think, like, the people to know about your industry? And I said that there are tiny beverage companies and there are ginormous beverage companies. It's not small and big, but they're, people have got to support the small guy to try and keep us alive, and in reality, that's where the other, like, regional brands that you found have fallen by the wayside. It wasn't actually consumer demand that went, it was other bigger brands. So even the likes of Calvin Cola was just bought to be killed. It wasn't, so a bigger brand said, let's just get rid of that. And so like, that's where the challenge comes from. And that's like a Supermax. And like I say, there are lots of the local beer brands would be the same. And there's loads of other people doing other cool products as well.
Do you have a favorite fizzy drink, whether it be within your own range or outside of it?
Well, I do enjoy Iron Brew. Yeah. I do also like Mountain Dew. And so you can see there's a theme of sweet products. I would say them two would be my top.
They're your go-tos,
They're my go-tos, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can get Mountain Dew in
Ireland. No, you can.
I have seen it some places. Yeah.
Bits and pieces. I mean, look, there's a lot of other sodas. There's a crowd from Kentucky called Ale 81. Brilliant ginger ale. And there's another crowd in America called Boylan's, which do another cracking cream soda. So they're my artisan niche brands. But when I'm on the go, it's an Iron Brew as well. I'm reaching for a lot.
Do you ever think of expanding out other flavors within McDaid's? We would. It's about trying to find what sort of fits in with us. And you're going back to the old recipe book. Like we used to do a lot of black currants and stuff. Oh, really?
People from Donegal of a certain era will remember it. We had a black currant that came in a 120ml bottle that was called a baby black currant. So it was a carbonated. No, sorry, it was a still black currant drink. And that's one we would play around with every so often.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, there's lots of different flavors, and obviously that would be important for us. You're looking for other flavors to try and that's true to what we do, but that are new as well.
Right. In Britain, there's a lot of people that mix blackcurrant cordial with cider, and that's why they came out with Strongbow dark fruits and all these different dark fruit ciders. So I don't know if there's an opening there somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, there's always new ideas. There's always new flavors and things, and the beverage business is great for that. There's always new things going on, but it's about trying to find which one fits us.
Yeah. And how do you reckon an Irish business can survive and thrive in the year? We're recording this in 2024. This might not be out till 2025 because it's the 18th of December now. So whichever the years, how do you think an Irish business like yours survives and thrives?
It's difficult. It's difficult. I suppose you've got to be. You got to be really connected to your locality, and so like we said, like we had a large regional following before we sort of launched this outside campaign, and I think you just got to try find your locality and find what you can, and then what social media has really helped, as you can attest to, find your following, then to find your crowd out there, find who out there is really wants what you're producing, and then cater to them. They'll tell you very quickly what works, what doesn't work. It is interesting, even the conversation about the zero sugar. Like that's not a question we would have got 20 years ago.
Not at all. 10 years ago, I'm not even sure.
Yeah. So, but trends change and tastes change. So you got if you have the beauty of social media, you'll have your following on there, so you can listen to them.
Yeah. And so I don't know. Do you got any other plans for the next year or so? We already talked about 0-0. Very briefly about it sounded like potential isotonic or some kind of really I suppose it'll be the reach to the brand. So can you find us? Can you find a product? Can I convince more shopkeepers to give me or restaurateurs or pubs to put me in more outlets? That's where the focus really is, and not just here and in Britain as well. That's where the focus really is. It's mad that because when I made the videos about it, a lot of people commented how I can get in Glasgow, and I was we actually all three sitting with me here is Miles producing the episode and Seamus, who's just kind of chilling. But all three of us actually used to live in Edinburgh. Seamus lived there for 9 years, and Edinburgh wouldn't really have that Irish connection as much, and then Glasgow is just got this like you can get football special places, you can get it's way more got that connection.
Well, I mean Glasgow is, we've been selling in Glasgow for a long time, but it is so Donegal there. But what's kind of interesting, and I was just there last week, so it's great.
Oh, really?
It's really good to go there. It's second, third generation Donegal folk now, that are still consuming football special because they still holiday in Donegal. So, the best shout out we've ever had was Frankie Boyle, talking about football special on a podcast.
Is he? I'm going to sound like an idiot. Is he Irish heritage?
Yeah. So his parents are both from Donegal.
All right.
So he spent summers in Donegal and drank football special. And he put us on his menu as last, sort of death row menu with a bottle of football special. So, that they're the sort of people you're getting to consume the product. Like, we've all. It's great. That's just the diaspora and where Donegal folk went to.
Well, where's the best seller outside of Donegal?
Galway would be the best.
Galway City,
Galway. We're available in the Dobrose in Galway, and they're one of our best places. And it works brilliant there because they've such good pizza that works so well then with a really good soft drink that people are in the mind to consume something new when they're there.
I actually went to university in NUIG in Galway, and there's a hell of a lot of Donegal people. There's a hell of a lot of people in university in Galway from Donegal. Donegal Tuesday, that thing. What is? I don't know if you know what is it? And I went to college there. During Rag Week, they do a day. The Tuesday is called Donegal Tuesday, and I don't know why.
Well, Donegal, it started when I was in college. And
where did you go?
I went to UCD, but I actually never attended Donegal Tuesday. But when my wife spent a semester in Galway from America, and she loved college in Galway, and when she moved to Donegal, she talked about Donegal Tuesday, and the first night we were out, two of my friends said to her, we actually invented that. And another guy was there and he goes, every single person who's in Donegal, who was in college in them years, says that they invented Donegal.
What does it mean? What does it mean? What do they do?
They took over the hole in the wall bar.
The bar,
and you wore your county colours, and that we christened it Donegal Tuesday. So that was the day. And it's still on the go to a limited extent now. Let's say it had some negative press over the years.
When I was in university in Galway, the first year I went there, they pretty much unilaterally abolished Rag Week in Galway. Now, there was unofficial Rag Week, but officially they abolished Rag Week, so it was just messy previous years.
It's typical anti-Donegal bias out there again.
You're not by any chance a rally car driver, are you?
I am definitely not, but there's plenty of rally in Donegal, So.
It's just because I looked up your name in YouTube to see if any interviews and that kind of thing, and there was a guy in the Donegal rally who I can't see. Thanks, Declan. Cheers. There's a guy, brother. I'll just mention we're actually in a Rooney's bar in Ballymore, Westmeath, County Westmeath, doing this interview. It's great that I can meet you in person because I wasn't sure if you'd be in Donegal all the time or Dublin maybe or abroad, and I was like, well, I'm in Mullingar, but no, it turns out you're in Ballymore pretty frequently.
Yeah, this is a long-term football special outpost.
Yeah.
I would say in Ballymore here. Oh.
The reason was I looked up your name and there was a Seamus McDaid who seems to be a rally car driver in the Donegal Rally. But you can't see him because he's got a helmet on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, is this Donegal? He's the same name. Could be in like...
Yeah. No, not me. No,
different guy.
Not me. But we've done, football special, we've sponsored loads of rally cars over the year. Obviously, like the Donegal Rally is very similar to football special in that
In
it's
what
still
way?
alive. It's still alive in a place that, I had to be car rallying all over Ireland, but it's really just a Donegal thing now.
Yeah,
So.
to anyone that doesn't know, I've never actually been to the Donegal Rally. I plan on going next year. What exactly is the Donegal Rally?
Well, it's a car rally where they close I would say the main roads, but the secondary roads, and they race around it. It's a timed race, and it goes on for 3 days, and it's huge, and it's there's 150,000 spectators, and it's a big event for Donegal. It's probably the biggest thing in the Donegal calendar.
Is this Letterkenny?
Around Letterkenny, predominantly North Donegal.
Yeah.
So and the big around Fannet Head is the big stage. That's the most scenic, and it's along the Atlantic Drive, and it's pretty spectacular there.
Yeah.
And it's a big part of the Donegal calendar.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a big part of Donegal life.
It's when I wrote the book, I actually did a bit on Irish rally car driving because I heard of the Donegal Rally.
Yeah.
Didn't make it last year. There is other ones. There's ones in Kerry. There's other ones, but there's actually quite a few of them. But that seems to be the biggest one.
It would be. Yeah, I would think. Yeah, the Rally of the Downs, whatever, is pretty big, and the one in Kerry would be very big. But it's well up there. It's one of the preeminent ones. And before Ireland got the World Rally Championship, all the World Rally drivers came to drive in it, which was great. I remember Sebastian Loeb was the big driver at the time, and I have never seen a more cooler individual in my life. He came driving it. He was going into the services down outside the Milford Inn Hotel, and he had the window down, and I can say that women were absolutely running after that car.
I could say, I know you said you're not that rally car driver in those videos on YouTube, but you're starting to really sound like you drive rally cars in Donegal.
If you're in Donegal, it's sort of a part of if football special and the rally is part of your upbringing. So
right, do a sponsorship or what?
Well, we've done lots of sponsorship. Yeah,
really with them,
yeah. We've done lots of different cars over the years. So yeah.
What's other big things in the Donegal calendar or the or Donegal sites that are like you gotta see?
Well, Sea Sessions is another big one, which funnily happens on the same weekend as the Donegal Rally. Which
is really?
So that's got to be our busiest weekend. So it's huge. Merryford and Low Festival is massive as well. And there's lots of other things. We know there's lots of festivals around Donegal. That still happens. So even in our own town, Ramelton, like we still have the Lennon Festival. And when I was
Lennon,
so the River Lennon runs through
okay,
Ramelton.
right.
So when I was a child, every town had a festival. Now there's only a few left, but like Ramelton is still going strong. Clonmany Festival is another massive festival. And they're very similar to what we were talking about to the Ballymore show here. They're music festivals. They're based around a couple of musical acts, but they're community festivals.
And they can be pretty big, to be honest. They can be pretty huge. Oh, we're totally forgetting about Rory G.
Yeah.
Rory G and
Ballybuffet.
Yeah.
Ballyshannon.
Ballyshannon.
So that's another big event. So there are a couple of big events, but it's all about trying to get people to come to see what we have.
Yeah, I mean, it's far away. It's hard to,
It's hard. Yeah.
I actually got some friends that played at a Tory Island festival this summer gone, and they said it was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, Tory Island is everybody should get to Tory Island. It's a world apart out there.
I'm going to try going next year, to be honest. Yeah. Look, I think we might just leave off. How are we doing on time there? 38 minutes. Oh, there's 40. That's not bad. Yeah. Well, look, I think we might. What do you guys think? Will we wrap up the podcast there-ish, or I mean, I've got nothing. That's written or what?
You're happy.
But before we wrap it up or anything like that, can you tell us where people can follow you or get you?
You'll get us on Instagram, McDaid's _football special, and Instagram and Facebook, the main two places. So, if you find us in any weird and wonderful places, please send us a picture, and it's always great to see us.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Seamus. Thanks for taking part in this conversation. Thanks, Declan, for letting us use the bar to record this podcast. I'd like to thank the producer Miles for producing this episode, and I'd like to thank Shameen for not making any noise pollution during this. And I'd like to thank you for listening. Thanks for listening, and see you somewhere else in the Weird Ireland podcast.